Transmitter device activated. Coordinates set for Earth 2.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Earth 2 podcast, your weekly exploration of the DC Comics multiverse and the legacy of their Golden Age characters through the Silver and the Bronze Ages of comics. I'm Peter Watson.
I am Elliot S. Magan.
I'm Kenny Smith.
I'm Steve Higgins.
I'm Martin Gray.
I'm Ross Aiken.
I'm Max Traver.
I'm Brandon Peters.
I'm Ali Steele.
I'm Logan McFarlane.
I'm Kirby Evans.
I'm Paul French.
I'm the Irredeemable Shag.
I'm Gavin Ritza.
I am Speak and Spell.
And I'm David Steele. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It's issue 137 of the Just League of America, the conclusion to the 1976 JLA JSA crossover, incorporating some heroes from what we now will call Earth S. JLA 137 published on the 2nd of September 1976, just a couple of weeks before the 4th birthday of Matthew Everett, the drummer with Menswear and the Montrose Avenue. I own 2 copies of this comic.
Gasp. Look at you, double fisting it.
If you pardon the expression. The reason is because about a month ago, when we were sort of getting closer to recording this one and I was digging stuff out of boxes, I couldn't find it.
Been there.
And I was like, what the heck? It's not with the, 136 and 135. What is going on? And I hunted high and low. And I thought, right, I've got a story reprinted elsewhere. I can read it from the trade, but I want to have it. So I went on eBay and got a middling copy with a really terrible spine and creases in the back and all that, and a big spine roll, and got that on eBay for like £7 or something. And it turned up. And then last week, whilst I was looking for something else, I found the copy of 137 that I've owned since like late 92, early 93.
As is the way.
Arthur Two Sheds Jackson. That's me.
Exact same thing happened to me when I was guesting on the DC Special Cast with Paul Ken. I could not find the issue that I had dug out that we were covering on that episode, and I had to order a second one from eBay. I've still not found the original issue. It is in here somewhere.
Well, when it does turn up, take a photograph with both of them, and you could caption it. 2 copies of DC Special.
Yes.
Is it? Aye. Yeah.
Wanted. It certainly was.
Anyway, JLA 137. Peter's going to tell us about the cover.
It's a lovely big blue sky, a few wispy clouds. There is a big giant mountain. Could it be the Rock of Eternity? It may well be. Standing atop this mountain is King Kull, the villain of this 3-part epic. And in his hand, he has a glowing red rock.
Sorry to interrupt, I've just had a thought. Have you got a t-shirt with the Superman logo?
No.
Have you got a t-shirt with the Shazam lightning bolt logo?
I've got the one that's got the words through it that was for the first movie.
Right, okay, well you could wear that and I'll dig out a Superman t-shirt and we'll get Kenny to stand in a Viking helmet in his pants and we'll recreate this cover in time for the socials. How does that sound?
That can be the image cover for the wrap-up episode.
Perfect. Right, cool. We'll have to find a cheap Viking helmet that'll fit Kenny. Right, well I'll go and go on to that whilst you describe the cover.
Yes. And in his hand is a glowing red rock. And he's presenting it towards 2 figures who are flying at each other, looking incredibly angry. Flying in from the left is Captain Marvel, the original, you might say. Flying in from the right is an enraged Superman. My goodness.
Oh my goodness. Jinx.
And underneath these 2 battling behemoths, we have some assembled heroes looking at them, aghast. From left to right, there's Barry Allen Flash, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, the Earth 2 Wonder Woman, the Earth 2 Batman, who has his arms raised, as does the Earth 2 Robin, who's behind him. Then we have, standing very far in the background, Ibis the Invincible, followed by Mary Marvel, and Captain Marvel Jr.
Hooray.
Is punching the air. And Wonder Woman saying,
"Great hero! That red kryptonite has turned Superman into Super Killer!"
And there's a caption capping off this amazing Ernie Chan cover, which says, "This is it, the encounter you've been waiting for. The big red cheese meets the big red S." Wow.
I thought you were going to say This Is It, the top 10 hit by Danny Minogue. That's a bit niche. Yes, it's a very exciting cover because it's the first cover to feature Superman versus Shazam, as he's become known as Superman versus Captain Marvel. Lampooned in Mad Magazine, hinted at in the Rutland Parade story, but it was a cosplayer in that case. There was also Superman 276, where it was Captain Thunder squaring up to Superman, but this is it, the real deal. And this cover has me looking forward to 22 pages of knockdown Superman versus Captain Marvel action. I cannot wait. Let's jump in. We have a very dynamic opening splash image but I think the best way to kick this off is with all the captions.
Concluding the mind-staggering epic co-starring the Justice League of America and the Justice Society of America. From the exact center of time and space he came, this fiend named Kull, Lord of the Beastmen, determined to annihilate the human race of not one Earth, but 3. And now he sends his agents to Earth-1, home base of the far-famed Justice League, to slaughter its human populace. He begins in the most exemplary location, a futuristic community of utopian proportions to tell the world, by his action, that Armageddon begins with tomorrow. And, unless the most powerful heroes of 3 Earths can stop him, paradise will soon be lost, and so, to be sure, will an entire world as well. Don't look now, America, but there's a crisis in tomorrow.
Along the bottom we get the credits for those responsible.
Plot and continuity, E. Nelson Bridwell. Words, Martin Pascoe. Art, Dick Dillon and Frank McLaughlin. Editor, Julie Schwartz.
Yes, the opening splash image is not quite as intricate as last week's. It's basically the 2 Green Lanterns, the 2 Flashes and Ibis all piling in on Mr. Atom, the huge silver, black and gold robot who has hassled Captain Marvel many times in the past. Notable that Green Lantern of Earth 2 Alan Scott has conjured a hand grenade, and Hal Jordan has conjured a big spear, and Ibis is firing his Ibis stick right into Mr. Atom's stomach. Mr. Atom surrounded by a Kirby crackle of black dots. Very, very interesting. So they talk there in the captioning of a utopian paradise called Tomorrow, because that's where we kick off indeed.
And now we continue our adventure with Chapter 6, The Odds Against Tomorrow.
And we see Tomorrow, this utopian city. It's all tall golden spires and fancy bridges and squared off buildings and weird bubble cars on outer space style highways. Looks a bit like something off of Logan's Run if you ask me. And guess what? There's some more captioning.
Tomorrow, the day after today, a late night TV talk show. What Superman is the man of. Or, in this case, a futuristic model city built 2 years ago, and like Montreal's habitat, now an inhabited, completely operational, planned community. To the rest of the world, the technology that is commonplace here is purely experimental. But, in this totally self-sufficient environment, another man's wave of the future is the reality of the present, or the citizen of tomorrow.
Yes, beautiful shots of the domed city as the captioning continues.
What better place for an other-dimensional villain to begin his attack upon Earth-1?
And we cut back to King Kull on his hairy shoulders and Viking helmet, staring into his fancy crystal that he's been using throughout the story, and he's saying,
"Human worms, you have defeated me on 2 Earths, but on this one, I shall not fail. When King Kull's work is done, there will be no tomorrow on Earth-1, neither figuratively nor literally. Ha ho ha!"
Now that attack begins in the form of a nuclear-powered robot known as Mr. Atom.
Yes, Mr. Atom, giant tall robot, a gold cone on the top of his head, which makes him look very much like the mole that are on Robbie Reed Dial's H4 in one of the early House of Mystery stories he's in. There's a sort of gold and black triangle across his chest, gold gauntlets around his wrists, blank automaton face, and we see him surrounded by the black Kirby crackle, firing energy beams at the dome surrounding Tomorrow.
The gargantuan raises a huge metal paw and fires a searing blast of atomic energy at the protective dome.
Yes, there is an amazingly large sound effect as he fires his golden beam and the top of the dome shatters, sending up a cloud of dust. Horrendous.
No sooner has the metal monstrosity entered the city than Tomorrow's private police rally to defend it. But to no avail, as the mysterious black aura surrounding the giant dissolves their bullets.
Yes, the Tomorrow police force wear green overalls, they have white, almost motorcycle-style helmets, and they're carrying very large, almost like laser bazookas, which they're firing up at Mr. Atom. And indeed, the projectiles that are being fired are dissolving in the Kirby crackle.
Suddenly, lost beneath the whine of useless bullets and the scream of terrified citizens, is another sound. Of 2 pairs of super-fast feet dashing at eye-blurring speed, and of 4 more strikingly garbed men flying across the rural landscape. One of them is Mercury, messenger of the gods.
And he is first to speak out of this group, which includes Jay Garrick and Barry Allen Flashes, the Hal Jordan and Alan Scott Green Lanterns, and Ibis the Invincible, as well as Mercury, as we just heard. Mercury says,
"Lo, yon behemoth attacking the city. 'Tis exactly as old Shazam spake."
Yes, Ibis and Mercury and the 2 GLs fly towards the crack in the dome, but the 2 Flashes vibrate through the side, with Barry Flash saying,
Cull apparently figured there was no harm in letting Shazam see him dispatch Mr. Atom here from Earth S's 21st century.
We get a nice shot of the 2 Green Lanterns and Ibis entering, as Green Lantern Alan Scott of Earth 2 says,
Since Shazam was paralyzed, Cull thought there was nothing he could do about it, right?
Hal replies,
Right. Cull didn't know Shazam could communicate telepathically with Mercury.
And amusingly, and very postmodernly, Ibis chips in with,
Gentlemen, you sound like bad actors struggling with purely expositional dialogue. I suggest you table the discussion of things of which we are already well aware, as if the task confronting us were not reason enough to do so.
Yes, and we see Mr. Atom turning towards the 5 heroes as they fly towards him. Alan says in reply to Ibis,
Huh? What did he say?
He said, quit jabbering and stop, Mr. Atom.
And as GL of Earth 1 speaks, we see Mercury and the 2 Flashes rebounding off of Mr. Atom's chest. They're attacking him, obviously failing. We cut back to the 2 Green Lanterns and Ibis as they focus their energies, and the captions read,
With grim resolve, they mount a unified offensive. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern of Earth 1, agent of the Guardians of the Universe, and his counterpart from the parallel world of Earth 2, the Green Lantern named Alan Scott. Though this GL's power ring comes from another time and space from his compatriots, and its limitations are different, it functions exactly the same. And finally, Ibis the Invincible, the resurrected Egyptian prince whose magical scepter, the Ibis Stick, ranks among the most powerful weapons of 3 worlds.
Yes, and as the 2 GLs fire beams from their respective rings, and I'll note that Alan's ring is on his left hand, Ibis focuses and fires a beam from his Ibis Stick, saying,
Ibis Stick, strike down Mr. Atom.
A triple-barreled blast bursts forth from the superpowered triumvirate. But effortlessly, the giant gestures. The mantle of ebon energy around it ripples, and the volley of power beams is returned. Swiftly and terribly.
Yep, we see the Kirby Crackle dancing away merrily behind Mr. Atom as the beams are all fired back towards the 2 GLs and Ibis as they plummet towards the ground. Ibis lands with a... Hal Jordan lands with a... And as he plummets, GL Alan Scott says,
What was that?
Some kind of feedback from that aura, I guess.
The heroes get to their feet, and Green Lantern Hal says,
I've got a hunch. If we envelop ourselves with the same kind of black aura, maybe we can hit that thing without feeling its backlash.
With our rings, it should be easy to duplicate the aura.
And I, with my Ibis Stick, project a black aura around me.
And Ibis gestures, and Alan gestures, and Hal gestures, and they're indeed all now surrounded by the black Kirby dot crackle that was surrounding Mr. Atom. GL Alan takes to the air, scanning with his ring, and to look at it immediately, it looks like a flock or a swarm of bats sort of circling in the air, but Alan helpfully says to us,
Hey, wait a minute. I'm picking up the power source of the aura. It's coming from outside the dome. Somewhere straight up.
Hal scans and says,
I'm getting a reading on it too.
Ibis circles and flies above them both.
The trail seems to lead to a spacecraft hovering just above the stratosphere.
I'll try to get a fix on it.
So will I.
And they fire their green beams up into the sky.
While below,
we see Mercury zooming around Mr. Atom, trying to distract him. Mr. Atom swiping and swatting at him, and down on the ground, circling Mr. Atom's legs, we see the 2 Flashes punching away furiously, as Barry Flash says,
Better use just your fists to break through that aura, Jay. Hit him with too much super speed kinetic energy, and we might feel that energy feedback. You saw what happened to the GLs and Ibis.
Not that we have anything to worry about, Barry. We're not getting through this thing anyway. Huh?
And Jay looks up because with a... Mr. Atom has fired another burst of energy at the city. Barry looks round and says,
Heads up, people. Mr. Ray is getting restless. That blast! It's shaking that building apart!
Mercury drops down towards his 2 fellow speedsters, saying,
Make haste, Flashes! Thy speed is of the essence. We must rescue the denizens of yon building from death.
Jay and Barry zoom forward.
And by the look of things, we've got roughly 3 seconds to do it.
And the next page is a full splash image of Barry and Jay rescuing people and property from inside this building. I'm guessing it's the school that's being attacked, as Mr. Bridwell very helpfully provides a lot of captioning for newcomers who've never read a DC comic before in their life.
Faster than the eye can follow, with eye-blurring speed, swifter than thought. All these time-worn expressions fail to do justice to the velocity of this awesome trio. One of them is a god, and with such beings, all things are possible. But these others are known by a grander name, where they risk their very lives in the pursuit of their self-appointed duty. Both of these mortals are called Hero. The Flash of this Earth, a police scientist notorious among friends and family alike for his snail's-paced lifestyle, until an accident befell him, and tremendous speed was bestowed upon him, transforming Slowpoke Barry Allen into the fastest man on Earth 1. And Jay Garrick, also a mishap-spawned Flash, but of another era, idol and inspiration to Barry Allen, who once thought Jay to be merely a comic book character. But the subsequent meeting of the two men proved that he did indeed exist.
So yes, as I said, Barry and Jay, it looks to me like it's a school, because that looks like a teacher holding some kind of iPad, and there's books and inkwells and stuff. We also see Mercury scurrying about under the building, looking like he's shoring up the floor, stopping it from collapsing. It's not very clear. We could have done without the potted recaps of those origins and something to tell us what Mercury was doing, but not to worry. We turn the page, and a scroll caption reads,
Chapter 7.
Death is a green-skinned computer.
But even as the Scarlet Speedsters race to avert a cataclysm, another one is making its presence felt several miles skyward.
Yes, we're back with the two Green Lanterns and Ibis. They're flying up in the air, following the signal that was coming down towards Mr. Atom. But they now realise they're not alone. G.L. Allen looks below and says,
How? Look down there. Those people are falling upward. It's like gravity went wild.
Odd you should say that. It's the very term the JLA used when it happened to them.
Yes, we can see a number of people flying up through the air below the GLs.
Unless I miss my guess, Dr. Destiny's up to his old tricks again.
And an asterisk interrupts proceedings and takes us to a small caption which reads,
When gravity went wild in JLA 5, June-July 1961.
Alan is next to speak when he says,
Whoever's responsible, we've got to help these people. The oxygen's too thin up here for them. They'll die.
And the GL's gesture, Hal creates an aeroplane out of green energy to shelter some of the people that are falling up in the air. And Alan, just a bit more simply, generates a bubble to hold a few of them. And then Ibis says,
Ibis stick. Cause parachutes to materialise on them.
Gosh, and we do indeed see a parachute materialising around one poor unfortunate. And we see some more people floating up in the air as Ibis says,
More helpless ones to be saved.
Hal, go ahead and track the power source. Ibis and I will take care of these people and catch up with you later.
And as G.L. Allen says that, we see Hal flying off, following the Kirby Crackle up into the air further.
Presently...
Yes, we are greeted with a sight of, I can only call it, a red flying saucer. And coming out of this flying saucer is this green beam with the sort of Kirby Crackle swarm of bats effect draining down from it. And floating next to it, still surrounded by his own homemade Kirby Crackle, is Green Lantern Hal Jordan. And we see Alan Scott and Ibis flying up towards him.
I see you've caught up with that doctor?
No, but I have found who is responsible. See that spacecraft? Superman's described it to me so thoroughly I'd recognize it anywhere. It's not Doc Destiny we're up against. It's...
Brainiac, the humanoid computer. Built to serve as a spy for the warrior world Kulu, a planet ruled by computers. He has seen his masters overthrown by humans, and now he burns for revenge.
We see Brainiac with obviously the trademark cool and green skin, and the red sort of sensor nodes all dotted around his forehead and scalp. In his lovely pink and silver jumpsuit, he is watching the two Green Lanterns and Ibis on his screen.
He stares coldly at his computer console, unencumbered by emotion. But could he laugh? He might do so, for he knows that even at this moment, the Green Lantern of Earth 1 is invading his vessel.
Yes, we see Hal power beaming himself. I suppose he's phasing through the wall of the spaceship. Still surrounded by the Kirby Crackle. Hal thinks to himself,
Odd sensation. Something strange happening to me.
Something strange indeed, Emerald Gladiator. for your mysterious black aura and the protective Kulian energy shell surrounding the ship have combined somehow to produce an incredible transformation.
Hal has basically turned into a skeleton. A skeleton still wearing a Green Lantern mask and still wearing a Green Lantern ring. Brainiac observes this and says coldly,
"Excellent analysis. The barium effect has taken place. Conclusion: defeat of this Earth's Green Lantern proceeding according to calculations."
We then, and I never thought I'd say this out loud, get a close-up of Green Lantern Hal Jordan's skull as he thinks,
Great Guardians, what's happened to me? Whoa, hang on. This could be an optical illusion, or an X-ray effect of some kind. Or maybe I have been turned into a walking skeleton.
Disorientated by this weird development, barely trusting himself to move, Green Lantern hesitates, and
Brainiac brings a weapon up to bear on him. GL spots this, thinking,
Whatever's happened to me, I've got to stop Brainiac. But judging from that weapon, I may not get the chance.
Luckily, GL, you won't need one.
Because Ibis has arrived, thankfully, and with an interesting sound effect, he fires his Ibis stick at Brainiac. Brainiac says,
"Analysis, unforeseen complication, error. Conclusion, intruder must be stopped. Use weapon on intruder."
But Ibis, still surrounded by the black Kirby dot crackle, has captured Brainiac's gun in the beam from his Ibis stick and says,
"Ibis stick, turn that weapon against Brainiac."
And as if with a mind of its own, and a whimsical one at that, the Ibis stick bathes the Kulian weapon in a shower of eldritch energy, which turns the handgun into what can only be described as a robot octopus.
Fantastic! There's an amazing sound effect as Brainiac struggles with the robot octopus that used to be his gun.
And after the changeling weapon's tentacles have enfolded the walking computer in an inescapable embrace,
Brainiac is completely surrounded and wrapped up, almost like a snake, more than an octopus, has got him. He's only his head popping out the top, as Green Lantern Hal says,
Grandma, what a lot of arms you have.
All the better to capture Brainiac with, my dear Lantern.
So much for the cutesy banner, Ibis. How about normalizing me?
And Ibis gestures once again with his cure-all wonder stick, and Green Lantern returns to normal.
Seconds later,
GL turns his attention to Brainiac, focusing his ring in his direction as he says,
I'll run a quick mind scan on our green-skinned friend. He is creating the black aura around the robot, and the robot is forcing the two Flashes and Mercury to keep running as part of some sinister scheme.
Oh my goodness!
Now I know why we encountered those floating people earlier.
And at that, Green Lantern Hal gestures with his power ring and formulates a giant set of hands, grasping a massive hammer, which he brings down on the controls of the ship with a huge...
As instantly as wishing, a verdant beam stabs from the Lantern's ring, destroying utterly the computer console that sustains Mr. Atom's power.
There's an amazing sound effect as we see Green Lantern Hal flying outside and rejoining his counterpart as he says,
Come on, Alan. I need your help.
And Alan, who's at this point focusing a bubble to contain a couple of people who are floating, replies,
Huh? Oh yeah, sure.
We are continued on the 5th page following, and one of those pages is a full-length, full-page house ad featuring 2 comics, which Peter and I will be covering coming up soon, and 1 comic of which I own a page of the original art. Isn't that nice? Might show that off on the socials. Don't know, might not. Anyway, humble brag over, we return to the story with a caption saying,
A double burst of green glowing willpower, and on the southern shore of Lake Michigan, not far north of tomorrow,
the 2 GLs fly down to the side of the lake and we see an enormous purple metallic, to my mind it looks like a giant turbine. Some kind of mechanical device anyway. Green Lantern Hal blasts it with his ring as Green Lantern Alan generates a scoop to gather up some rocks as Hal says,
This thing is speeding up the Earth's rotation. That's what caused the gravity to lose its hold on those people you saved. Its power source is furnished by our super speeding friends in tomorrow.
Chapter 8. When Titans Clash.
Which I think Roy Thomas used on the cover of about 80% of the comics that he wrote.
Undoubtedly.
Listeners, do I try and make a When Titans Clash comic book cover gallery for the social this week? Challenge extended. Captioning returns.
While at that very moment, in tomorrow itself, those 3 aforementioned speedsters are still racing to correct the damage done by the Metal Marauder as quickly as it occurs.
We see Barry Flash grabbing people out of the way of Mr. Atom's blasts. We see J Flash patching up holes in the road to stop cars falling in. And we see Mercury speeding to use poles to shore up pathways and roads to stop people falling to their deaths. All very exciting.
Again and again, the robot fires its ray blasts, and repeatedly, the super speedsters keep pace, until...
Yes, it almost looks like either Mr. Atom is climbing up the side of a building in a King Kong style, or he's trying to tip a building over, but Mercury and Barry and Jay are all standing there, watching him, and Mercury notices something. He points.
Behold! The robot weareth its ebon mantle no longer!
No more aura? So what are we waiting for?
Let's clobber him.
But before the Flash can do that, with a... Ibis flies back into action. Mercury advises caution, saying,
Take care! He is still a most formidable...
We're not too sure if Ibis hears him, because Ibis then says...
Ibis stick, enclose the robot in a magic...
But he breaks off because Mr. Atom has zapped him on the side of the head. I hope it hasn't dislodged his turban too badly, and, crucially... Ibis drops the Ibis stick. Uh-oh.
The command goes unfinished, as Ibis the Invincible reels beneath a blast that creases his skull, scrambling his senses. Senses which awaken to a moment suspended in time, all action halted in an agony of waiting for the final, fatal blow. A pause filled only by a sound like rusted gears groaning, a lament, a grotesque parody of human speech, as... Mr. Atom speaks.
Ibis stick. Propel the turbaned one into a distant star.
Yes, and we see that Mr. Atom is holding the Ibis stick and gesturing towards Ibis himself. What, Mr. Atom's using the Ibis stick? Oh my goodness!
A pause, and nothing happens. Something like an expression of impatience creases the robot's metal features. And then...
The Ibis stick flies from Mr. Atom's hand down towards... the unconscious Ibis, and with a... Mr. Atom goes soaring up through the hole in the dome, over tomorrow, and up into the sky. As J-Flash helps Ibis to his feet, he says,
What hit him?
Such is the spell governing the Ibis stick, protecting me from grave danger. Those who attempt to use it against Ibis, its only master, doom themselves instead to whatever harm they sought to wreak upon me.
Listeners, we barely have time to pause for breath as we turn the page and the captioning returns.
Presently, in a place where the coordinates of time and space merge and become the hub of life itself, the Rock of Eternity becomes the beachhead for an angry invasion by an army of superheroes who have just saved Earth 1, Earth 2, and Earth S from destruction.
An asterisk takes us to a caption at the bottom of the page, which reads,
Justice League 135 and 136 are indeed the previous 2 episodes of our podcast.
Yes, this is epic. Hopefully there's room for it in the socials. We see arriving at the Rock, flying in, Wonder Woman's invisible jet, Spy Smasher's gyro sub, the 2 Green Lanterns from the 2 Earths, Hawkman, Superman, Bulletman, Bullet Girl, Hawk Girl, Mercury, Ibis, the Batmobile, the Flashes of 2 Worlds, Mr. Scarlet, Pinky, Green Arrow, and Robin of Earth 2. Why Robin's not in the Batmobile, I don't know. Write in with your best suggestions.
Within the temple that stands upon the rock, King Kull holds his ground with consummate arrogance.
Yes, with wide eyes and a big beaming grin, he looks into his crystal, and we see Superman is the subject of his gaze as he says,
Ha ho ha! How much better than I'd hoped. The heroes have thwarted my plans on 3 Earths, but now they come to me. I can destroy them here and now in one fell swoop, and then be free to begin my annihilation of all humans on all worlds.
We cut back outside.
As the Man of Steel hurtles toward the temple at super speed, Kull produces a strange stone, glowing an unearthly crimson. Instantly, a shudder racks Superman's body as he trembles in recognition of an old nemesis.
And Supes gets a close-up as he looks very, very uncomfortable indeed as the captioning returns.
And now, for the first time in years, the Man of Tomorrow faces an unpredictable kryptonite isotope known as red kryptonite. Under its influence, his features darken, his brows knit, lips curl back thinly across steel-hard teeth in a hate-filled grimace as a mad lust seizes him, a burning desire to kill.
As Cull gestures with a crimson kryptonite, he sees Superman flying down and away over the heads of the Green Lanterns and Flashes as a caption kicks in.
Freeze this image. Trap it in your mind like a fly in amber, for we must leave it now, if only for a moment. When next we return here, just a second will have elapsed, but it will be a second on which a universe may turn or tumble. Cut to TV station Wiz. The three young people there assembled must decide the fate of 3 Earths.
And we're back with Billy, Mary and Freddy and Johnny Thunder as Freddy asks,
"Who are you? What do you want here?"
Johnny Thunder's the name, Adventure's the game. I was sent here to help you guys.
Sent? By whom?
Asks Billy as Johnny looks a bit kind of wide-eyed and nervous and scratches the back of his head like I'm miming for our YouTube viewers as he says,
By this Mercury guy on the Rock of Eternity? Funny thing is, he didn't tell me what I was supposed to do, and shucks, I forgot to ask. Guess it has something to do with my Thunderbolt?
The trio of youngsters is confused and a little bewildered, but they're beginning to see a plan in Mercury's bidding, even if this Johnny Thunder doesn't.
Yeah, Billy looks very thoughtful as he says,
Thunderbolt? That sounds interesting.
Yeah, he's a magical being, see, and I command him like Aladdin and his lamp. He comes when I say the Bodnesian X word, say you, and...
A very familiar face appears. It's the Thunderbolt himself, who says,
"You rang, Master John?"
As Johnny exclaims,
"Oh, oops."
And Billy, Freddy and Mary look on wide-eyed as the Thunderbolt gestures with his bottom half in the direction of them all, and there is a massive explosion of light and a colossal... Thunderbolt looks very happy with himself, very satisfied, as we see revealed the figures of Captain Marvel, Mary Marvel, and Captain Marvel Jr. Captain Marvel says,
Holy moly! Now I understand. The Thunderbolt took the place of our magic lightning.
I still don't get it.
Yes, and a very distracted Thunderbolt says,
So what else is new?
Next panel's cracking, and pay attention to the socials, listeners, for an amazing, exciting behind-the-scenes photo. See the Thunderbolt flying through the air towards the Rock of Eternity with Mary, Cap, Freddy, and Johnny all perched on his back. Johnny is saying,
Mercury said something about somebody named Shazam being paralyzed or something?
And Thunderbolt says, as an aside,
or something.
And then Cap says,
Well, that explains it. If Shazam is incapacitated, he couldn't send out the magic lightning that transforms us, so he sent you instead, to turn us into Captain Marvel, Mary Marvel, and Captain Marvel Jr. And in less time than it takes to tell it, the Marvel family arrives at the Rock of Eternity, and...
They fly in. Captain Marvel punching out King Cull, as Junior arcs behind him, knocking out the equipment, saying,
I'll smash these evil machines.
And Mary says,
But not before I reverse this one to free the elders.
And we see her operating the equipment which frees Shazam and the others from being held captive. Gosh, it's not all over, listeners.
And within instants, the old wizard named Shazam is free from his imprisonment.
Yes, Shazam, talking to Captain Marvel, says,
You've done well, my son, but there's danger still. The being called Superman will soon attack us in a fit of murderous rage. We must stop him.
Holy moly! While a few yards distant...
We're back outside, the two Green Lanterns trying to restrain Superman, firing beams at him, as Green Lantern Hal says,
That's it, Alan. Held him with green kryptonite formed by your ring.
And indeed we see the rocks forming and battering against Superman's chest.
But it's not doing any good, Hal. The red K that Cull used on him must have immunized him against the green stuff.
We cut back to Captain Marvel and Shazam.
Wait, Superman is affected by magic, right?
Certainly.
then I think I know how to stop him. Superman!
Superman reacts to the new arrival. And we see Cap flying up to Supes, saying,
Here I am, you mindless lunkhead. The only superhero stronger than you. Go ahead, lay one on me. I dare you. The enraged Man of Steel is made even angrier by the red-clad hero's tauntings, and...
Yes, with a terrifying expression in his face, Supes flies towards Cap, reaching towards him, saying,
We'll kill you, Marvel. Must kill.
For many years, those few in the cosmos who knew of the existence of both Superman and Captain Marvel have wondered what would happen if they met. Perhaps now they'll get their answer, but it just might be a tragic one.
And we see the two heroes flying towards each other at great speed.
But wait! The good captain's lips are moving, forming a familiar word. A word that can only be... Shazam! And it has happened so many times before, but not recently, the magic lightning strikes. And in its wake appears a restored Superman, now clear-headed, the bloodlust gone from his eyes. And where had flown Captain Marvel mere seconds ago is now only Billy Batson, who is quietly plunging to certain doom.
Yes, indeed, we see Billy falling, and Supes looking down at him, thinking,
Great Krypton. I don't know how I got here or where that kid came from, but one thing's for sure. I've got to save him.
And when the Man of Tomorrow has brought the young newscaster safely to terra firma...
Yes, we see Supes alighting, holding Billy in his arms, as Billy Batson says,
Cap figured that a blast of magic lightning could knock that red kryptonite fever out of you, Superman, after the old wizard put a little something extra in it. Of course, one of the consequences was that he'd be turned back into me. We were hoping you'd save me. And we were right.
We see the two Green Lanterns, Ibis, Barry Flash, and presumably the other heroes, looking on as King Kull is secured. Billy says to his two fellow members of the Marvel family,
It's all over now. You've got Kull in chains.
Magic chains, Billy. The gods of eternity fashioned them.
They're so strong, even Hercules couldn't break them.
And we see indeed that Kull doesn't look very happy at all, as his wrists are wrapped in chains by Mary and Freddy. Superman looks on and says,
Well, I guess our work is done here, but I'm sure there's more awaiting us on our own Earths.
And we close with a spectacular shot of Superman flying through the air, as well as the other Green Lanterns, Bullet Man, Bullet Girl, Ibis, Hawkman and Hawkgirl, Johnny Thunder's Thunderbolt and Johnny, Mary and Captain Marvel Jr. bearing Billy Batson. Spy Smasher's Gyro Sub, Wonder Woman's Jet, and on the ground, running along, are both Flashes, Green Arrow, Mr. Scarlet and Pinky, the Batmobile, and Robin of Earth 2, as a closing caption reads,
A long-awaited meeting is once more deferred, but a menace to 3 Earths has been vanquished. And as 22 brightly garbed figures hurtle back through the dimensional doorway to their respective worlds, a faint smile of pride touches their lips. And, well it should, for these are 3 worlds' greatest superheroes, and, once more, they've earned their reputation.
And a small closing caption reads, End. Well, listeners, as we've been doing, we've been saving all discussion and the contemporary correspondence up for a special wrap-up episode, which, all being well, will follow next week. Isn't that right, Peter?
Most certainly is. Thanks again to all our contributing guests for this. In fact, all of our episodes. Yes, that was fantastic. At the time of recording, I've got some special people lined up as a surprise for David, and he won't know until he actually listens to the episode.
Excellent. I like when that happens. If you have got Zachary Levi on speed dial, that'd be very, very amusing. Is Jackson Bostwick still with us? I'm not sure. But Peter, in the meantime, as our listeners await our thoughts on these last 3 issues, what could the listeners do?
You could write to us at theearth2podcast@gmail.com and tell us your thoughts on these stories, or indeed any of the stories that we've covered. Also, follow us on social media, because we're putting up lots of lovely bonus material for this and indeed every episode. On Facebook, Instagram and Blue Sky, we're at the Earth2 Podcast, and on Twitter, we're at podcast_Earth2. It is, of course, the number 2 for all of our socials.
It certainly is. Listeners, I want to say a quick thank you A heartfelt thank you to Peter for all the work he's put in for these 3 episodes. I haven't heard them yet, as we record, obviously. But I know they'll be epic. I know he's had to deal with me having a bit of a meltdown on some of the recording because this is not a straightforward story, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll all come out in the wash. Thank you again to all of our guest voices. We'll recap everyone in the wrap-up episode next week, all being well with that. As I always say, if you're enjoying what we do, please consider going to wherever it is you're receiving your podcast and giving us a positive review, or sharing our posts, or telling your pals, or going to our coffee page and buying Peter the price of a beverage. That would be appreciated, I'm sure. So, we're going to go and sit down for 10 minutes now, and we'll be back next week with our thoughts on the 3 chapters of this story, and of course the contemporary correspondence. Isn't that right, Pepe?
It most certainly is correct, David Steele.
That's me.
As Googly Eye seems to think we are called. On that bombshell, I've been Peter.
And I've been David, and we'll see you soon on
the Earth 2 podcast.
Transmatter cube activated. Return coordinates set for Earth Prime.
And Wonder Woman saying,
Great Hera! That red kryptonite has turned Superman into Super Killer! I sound more like Chekhov from Star Trek.
Heads up, people. Mr. A is getting restless. Dicko's in a mood. Sorry, wrong Mr. A.
Hey!
And after the changeling weapons tentacles have unfolded, Ricky. It's the most
unbelievable.
Tangled. Mr. Atom speaks.
Who have you cast as Mr. Atom? Have you got Kenny to ask Nick Briggs?
No, I'm not telling you.
Are you going to treat his voice so he sounds like a Dalek? Because that would be amazing.
Big in the 80s is what I'd say.
Ooh, Soundwave or a Cylon. Oh, yes. Brilliant. Right, Logopolis.
Not quite, but yeah.
Okay. Metal Mickey, I don't know. Right. Buck Rogers, pal. David Banks, I don't know. I've got lots of ideas.
Ibis Stick.
Right, Mr. Atom speaks.
Ibis Stick propel the turbaned one into a distant star.